welcome into Farming Simulator 25 with me, the Midlife Simster. Thanks for joining me for another episode of this Wish I'd Known series. A bit of a follow-up to the sort of Pastures and Pens. Again, it's not quite a version 3.0, 4.0 or 72 or whatever it is now, and the amount of times I've put something out about this, but it's basically just a follow-up from some of the comments that you guys have made. The first person that made a comment I'm going to talk about today is Crofter, who basically talked about the whole issue of the amount of animals that are on display within the pasture. So from the testing that I've found, I think I'm right in saying that the most on PS5 Pro I can display is 25 animals in a pasture. Anything more than that, it doesn't matter. I won't see more than that. However, thanks to Crofter, this is now my pasture. I mean, look how good that looks. Look at all those cows. Hello, girls. Look at that. I just think that's superb. Such a simple fix. Now, what I will say in this episode, everything I've done is really rough because I've just thrown it together just so that I can kind of talk you through it and show you it. So what you then go and do with this is up to you, and a lot of this will depend on you having watched my previous videos around what you can do with the fenceless pastures and the pastures and ponds video as well. So the simple part of it is you're basically running 2 pens within this area. What I've ended up doing is this pen you'll see here, it's got a corner fence there. Come up here, we've got a corner fence within the bushes, and you can kind of see it, but there is the end, and then we'll come all the way down here, and then there is the other corner that loops back across to this one. And I've left them in just so you can see it, and I've then chucked a load of the bushes in so you can see what that looks like when they're hidden, just to remind you of like the kind of creative options you're going to have available to you. That then means that there's this sort of imaginary lines down the middle of the field, so these cows won't cross into there and vice versa there. We've created those invisible lines, the same thing we talk about in the videos in terms of straight lining around these walls. Exactly the same principle then for this pasture. 4 corners, same old fence trick to make sure we're getting rid of them, keeping the single panels, and bang, and there you have it, a field absolutely full of cows. Benefit of this as well, and I hadn't really thought of it. Now this is off the top of my head, but I was kind of, as I started the video, I started thinking about it. The issues, I'm sure this is still the case, and again, please correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, so I'm not, everyone else who's in there can see the same thing. I'm sure that no matter how many animals you end up putting into these pastures, if you make like one gigantic pasture in this field, it would be the same that if I just basically put the standard pasture size from this pen, because there's a maximum amount of food that it will hold, which then means that you've got too many cows and they're going to go through that amount quickly. It doesn't sort of prorata, if that's the right way of saying it. Like the maximum amount doesn't increase by the maximum amount of cows that you've got. It limits itself. Now, if that is correct, and that's still the case, then by doing this, that means then you're not going to drain it as quickly, because you're going to be able to halve the amount of cows that are taken from this, because the other half are going to take from this one. So yeah, it's a great idea, and it looks wicked, and it works. Now the only thing to be aware of is the zooming out sort of thing. I don't think it comes into play when I'm in first person. Let's have a look what happens. Yeah, you might get it. I'm right on the edge because I'm so close to him. I don't know. My only other concern would be how many of these you end up putting in, and then the impact that then has on your gameplay, if it's going to cause it to lag or anything like that. But as just a simple solution to getting more cows in your pasture, that is brilliant. It's brilliant. I love it. So, Crofter, legend, thank you. I know I spoke to you in the comments previously, and asked your permission to put this in. So, mate, brilliant. Absolutely excellent. Thank you very much. I'm then going to move on to something that from someone said again. I think it must have been in one of the ponds and pasture video, but I've got their name written down as Chris LRO, and I'm assuming I've got that right and what they're saying. Now, what they came up with the idea, because they were talking about the issue that I was having where I'd created my pond in my field, but because then we set the pasture points on the kind of outer edges like this, the cows then, they like to go for a swim. The babies, the big ones, they like to lie down underwater and try a bit of scuba diving. Yeah, and I was like, okay, no worries, we can put some fencing in. And I would put like the fencing, I'd build the pond, put the fencing in, and it was all great. Put the pasture in, the pasture overrides the fence, exactly the same principle as this solid wall. If the straight line comes the other side of it, cows are going to go through it. Exactly the same principle when I was placing the fencing down, the cows were just walking straight into the water. I was like, oh, I don't really know how to get around that. Chris LRO suggested, basically when you set what I've done here is I've set my pasture. I've brought the first fence out to the side here. The next one comes up to the top here. And then you'll see now I've got 2 fence panels here. And that's because this one came to here and then comes all the way down to the pond. And then you can see here, we're going to trace around the edges of the pond. And I've left these in so that you can see them. Now, you can be loads more creative with this. And I'll kind of give you a bit of really, again, rough example of that in a minute. Comes back around to the point then here. We don't join them. That's the key to it. Bring it back up here. So again, there's this sort of fictitious little corridor here that the cows will never cross that because their boundary lines prevent them from doing so. Bring it back out to however far you want, then same old rules apply. Back around. And there you have it. And you have a pond now that the cows will not go and go and have a dip and lie down in the water. And it works really, really well. Things to be aware of, and I'll jump across the map. So, here we go. Combining these 2 techniques, and I threw this together in about an hour of just messing around. So it is really rough, but it's just to give you guys an idea of what you can do. And I've left the one fencing in completely so I can explain it, and it's a lot more visual. So, standard pasture trick, I've put the pasture kind of right bang in the middle of the field. I've put the fence in, then it starts on this side. Brought it straight back down to this fence here. I've hidden it within the bushes by there. Brought it up the side here, up into this bush here. Let me see, there you are. You can just about see the fence post by there. Brought it across here, into the hedgerows over here. And then I've done that trick then, just little by little, one by one, found their way around to here. Brought it back out, comes into this bush over here. Back down the side of the field, all the way down into the corner, into these bushes, down and out. So I've placed all of these Calmsden bushes beforehand because I know these are roughly where I'm going to be putting my single panels and kind of masking them in there. Be aware, don't put the bush too close to the wall. The minute you do, the restricted area kind of comes into play. You'll be then having to set your fence panel outside of the bush. Be aware of that. Now then, this is where it gets a bit complicated. The water, depending on the size of the pool that you're putting in, can restrict what you're doing in terms of your fencing. So over here, I could not for the life of me, and if I go into demolish mode, let's have a look here. Can I get these? In which side do I need to? Oh, there we are. I'm on the wrong side of the fence. So you can see there, I've got the long panel coming down there. We got another one there, so that's fine. That's nice enough. I could live with that one hidden. I would then delete these ones that are kicking out here. I've just chucked some bushes in again to show you what you can do to start masking things. I would delete those 3 coming back in. That one, though, is a problem because it sticks out of the bush. And then for the life of me, I could not get it to join back in. And the reason for that is the water is coming out and underneath the map. And that is then prohibiting me placing the pasture fencing where I want it. So you've got to plan this out. You've got to think about where that water line is going to be. You've then got to think about where you're going to do your fencing. But with a bit of planning and a bit of practice, it's very easily done. You just need to have a bit of a play around with it and a bit of kind of forethought. And you can see this guy. No butter. You do not get to go for a swim. Unlucky. And then, yeah, you know, the world's your oyster, isn't it? Do what you want with it in terms of that little space then inside that area. Again, go back to the previous videos, understand what needs to go in before you start doing the pastures. and kind of the order you should be kind of considering things. Read through the comments on my videos. There are so many really cool ideas and lots of people offering lots of different things. And then, like I say, when you combine Crofter and Chris LRO's ideas to make it, you've basically got a pond that's completely safe from cows and a massive pasture. But like you see there, it's the draw distances basically is what's kicking in there. But you'll have loads and loads and loads of cows split over 2 pens as well, so it's much easier for feeding. You can still just come through the one thing. You can still travel down the field once you've removed this fence. There, there's nothing there. You will bring your tractors through there, no problem at all, through there, drop that food off and come around. What a great idea. Thank you to both of you. Absolute legends. For all of you that are going to give this a go, let me know how it goes. Let me know in the comments what you think, if you're going to give it a go, anything that you found, any ideas, anything you'd like tested, anything you think of, just give me a shout. And as always, until next time, be happy, stay safe, and we'll speak again soon. Take care.